Workshop West happened to be a playwrights theater, and they launched the publication, living up to their name, of Tell Us What Happened by playwright Michelle Robb. This is coming up on Monday, August 7th, 7:30 p.m. at the Gateway Theatre, which is along Gateway Boulevard in Edmonton. The event will include selected readings from the play, treats, and tasty refreshments. Attendance is free to anybody who wants to gather. But first, let's gather Michelle Robb to the microphone here to have a chat. Good afternoon, Michelle. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Can we set the stage, as it were? Can you just tell us what happened is about?
So Tell Us What Happened is a play that takes place in the shared rental house of three young women who run a Facebook group that has 400 members in it. And the Facebook group is sort of a place for young women to go disclose their stories and support each other. And at the start of the play, they discover that a number of girls in this Facebook group have been sexually assaulted by the same young man who is best friends with the girl who started the group. And so he's over at the house all the time, and they've had no idea. So it launches the characters into this situation where they're dealing with pain of not really knowing who they thought they knew, and also trying to seek justice and recovery for their friends that have been impacted by sexual violence. So it's a challenging play about tensions in friendship and about healing and recovery and what that looks like on a face-to-face scale.
It sounds like that social media is used as a tool for bonding, ultimately, and an opportunity for candid conversation in the course of your play. And then a fly is tossed into the ointment. We can make light of it, but it's a very serious thing in that context, isn't it? What inspired you to tell this story?
Well, I wrote the play when I was 20, and I was in university at the time, and I was, hanging out in a lot of shared rental houses with other young women my age, and those conversations were happening, and I was really shocked because I was a young adult, and I was learning that so many of my friends and colleagues were survivors of sexual assault or sexual violence. And I sort of couldn't believe that it was happening between people I knew. It had always felt like something elsewhere, something that didn't happen in my community. And when I was learning that it was happening in my community, and then the hashtag #MeToo went viral, I felt very confused and scared and very sad. And one of the things that was making me sad was the ripple effect of how the sexual assault case can ripple out and sort of shatter other relationships and your association with someone. The sort of approach of if you're still friends with that person, then you are complicit with what they did. And I'm interested in that contradiction and how we can sort of disentangle alliances and things like that and recognize that it's a much larger problem.
Was there a sense of catharsis in writing this play, or a sense of vindication in terms of the women you associated with, the young women you associated with?
Catharsis is, I like the word catharsis. It feels appropriate. When the first staged reading happened at the Citadel in 2018, I was watching in the audience, and at the end of the reading, I actually couldn't get out of my seat. Because I was just sort of swarmed by a lot of young women in the audience. Some of them were my friends, some of them I had never met before, but everyone just sort of came to me, and they all wanted to share their stories with me and sort of thank me for managing to capture the pain and the confusion and the grief that comes with those situations. So it's been rewarding. It was very hard to write because I had to sort of go into some emotional places to write this play.
Mm-hmm.
But it was rewarding because you end up seeing how it gives survivors a voice, and how it is a reminder for a lot of young women that they're not alone in these situations, and you're not the only one who is friends with a guy that has done some really horrible, inexcusable things. You're not the only one.
You're going to present the play, by way of congratulations, they'll be celebrating
Thanks.
your work being published this coming weekend at Workshop West at the Gateway Theatre. That's really exciting. Are you going to read some bits and pieces from the play?
Yeah, I've been told that it's tradition for the playwright to read an excerpt of the play at their book launch. So I'm nervous about it because normally I've handed this play off to actors to read it. But yeah, I'll be reading an excerpt of it at the launch, and there will be some other speakers there who were involved in its development.
That's so amazing for such a young, talented playwright to get published at this juncture. Congratulations to you. And I know you're not, acting is not a foreign concept to you because you went through your BFA in acting, right?
I found out in the same week that Tell Us What Happened was going to be produced professionally and that I had been accepted into the acting conservatory at the U of A. So there was a couple of years there where I was working on both at the same time. So it'll be fun for me to read an excerpt of it, I'm sure, even though it's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, indeed. And here's to, well, having more publications in the future as you sit down in front of the proverbial typewriter again. One thing at a time, I'm sure.
Totally. Yeah. Thanks for being interested in it.
Oh, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to talk with you about the play and just the launch, the official launch that's happening this coming weekend. We have a huge library. Can I play a request for you to go out of this interview?
Oh, wow. Well, there is a song that we played a lot during the rehearsal process for Tell Us What Happened. It's by No Doubt, and it's called Just a Girl. It suits the show a little bit.
I can't think of a better song. And thank you so much to Michelle Robb for chatting with me this afternoon. Once again, the reading and the celebration of the publication of Tell Us What Happened takes place Monday, August 7th, 7:30 p.m. at the Gateway Theatre. That is 8529 Gateway Boulevard in Edmonton. Thanks again to Michelle Robb. This is No Doubt.